Hi guys, I'm Sam from the Indie of Life and welcome back to my channel. If you've been watching these past couple of videos, you'll know that we've been looking at all. And so last time we looked at horses, and this time we're looking at the Dangerous Wild Animals Act of 1976, which is actually quite a long, complicated law. So let's get into it. Okay, so let's get a bit of background information. Has anybody seen that absolutely disgusting show known as The Tiger King? You know, Joe Exotic, and is it Caroline Sutton who's just as bad as him? Okay, and Ross Kemp, he looked at Britain's Tiger King, and yeah. Okay, so this is what this law is sort of about. This law is still not perfect. More needs to be done because I want to know who the hell looks at a lion and says, do you know what? That would make a great pet. Right? It wouldn't make a great pet. It belongs in the wild. If you want a pet that exhibits the same behaviours as a lion, get a cat. Okay, a domesticated moggy will have the same behaviours as a lion and is much less likely to kill you. So, this act came about due to the increase in fashionable animals from the wilds, okay? And they decided that they want to control this through licensing. So this act covers animals such as Tasmanian devil, grey kangaroos, sloths, bears, snakes, elephants, and many more animals like wildcats, any pride mates, wild dogs like wolves, certain pigs and wild boars, and marsupials. Does anybody know what a marsupial is? Probably not. So a marsupial, if I remember correctly, is any animal that has a pouch, so like kangaroos, and the babies produce and stays in that pouch. Just remember marsupials, the pouch, mainly found in Australia. So anybody who wishes to own an animal under the listed Dangerous Wild Animal Act must own a license to do so. Which I don't think you should be having any of these animals, especially not in your back garden. Okay, this act doesn't apply to animal circuses, which it should, especially in the UK. Animal circuses are banned. Zoos, premises licenses such as pet shops, or even lab experiments on animals. The holder of the license must be 18 and hold a necessarily valued insurance. I just think this whole thing is utter crap, and we shouldn't have this particular law. You just shouldn't have these animals at all. So, a holder's license must have never had their license taken off of them. Any license. A license will not be given to them if the local authority isn't satisfied that the person who is applying it is suitable, the public will be safe, the animal will be kept secure accommodation to prevent it from escape, and the accommodation is suitable for the animal's needs, and the animals are provided with food, water, and bedding materials, and will be visited. Do you know where the best place for these animals is? It's in the wild. I can't stress this enough, okay? Just leave them alone. They're not harming you. You shouldn't want, a chimp for a pet. It is absolutely ridiculous. Just because an animal's exotic, it doesn't mean that you can go about and I've got an exotic pet, I've got a personal garden of all these wonderful excellent animals, they're like family to me, blah 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 blah. Okay, if you've got an animal that isn't like a bearded dragon or like a little corn snake, they're as exotic as you should be going. You shouldn't be having all these weird and wonderful pets like tigers and lions and bears, etc. Certainly not elephants. These animals are so intelligent. They don't need humans to look after them. I mean, yes, okay, sometimes we have to interfere to help them breed. But if you're breeding these animals, as in you're in a zoo and you're not having these animals go back into the wild, that you shouldn't really be breeding them. You should just leave them alone. Okay, because in case you're just wondering what I'm doing, there is a huge list of animals in which people can have, and it's ridiculous. You can find that on the government website page. There's a heck of a long list of animals, okay, that should just belong into the wild. You shouldn't have them as a pet, you know. So let's talk about ITV did a documentary with Ross Kemp. So let's get into that and talk about that and how appalling and disgusting that this is. Okay, so the ITV, they shared, it is understood that about, wait for it, 4,000 animals, including lions, tigers, bears, crocodiles, and giant snakes, are held in the private hands in the country. People own these things in their back gardens. It's insane, it is unnecessary, and it is cruel, and it has got to stop. Okay, it's ridiculous. There's no need for any of this. And it's programs that filled in the line with the COVID rules because it was recorded during that period of time. So Ross, for example, he met a man who keeps 2 lions in his back garden. Yeah, you heard me. He has 2 lions in his back garden. Because that's a normal, sane thing to do, right? Wrong. And a couple who have used the profits from their scrap metal business to build a 200-strong animal collection. You don't need 200 animals, okay? That is insane. Especially if you're going to keep them in these cramped, horrible, cruel conditions, and especially if it's a wild animal. I can't stress this enough. I shouldn't have to. So Ross also meets a former circus trainer who now trains animals for television programs. CGI, people, technology's moving on so much now that we don't need live animals in our TV. Okay, CGI things. Don't, because you can probably get away with anything that's exotic. Like, for example, he keeps tigers. I already mentioned in one video how endangered tigers actually are. In one instance, Ross discovered that the rescued big cats have caused fierce division, this is what the ITV said, in the village where they are kept. With some of the neighbours expressing concern about the well-being of the big cats, the owner tells Ross that they love him and they're like puppy dogs. You don't know if the lion loves you. They just don't. Animals can't talk, and they're certainly not like puppy dogs. They're a totally different species. Okay, if anybody owns a cat and a dog, you know, cats aren't loyal. You're their servant, where dogs are like, oh, I'm very loyal and I'll do what you want to make you happy. So let's talk about the guy that owns these lions, okay? So I watched 2 YouTube videos on this guy, and oh my god, what an utter prat.
I'll be nosy. Might surprise you. Find something I actually like.
That's me being absolutely polite there. So Rhys Oliver keeps 2 lions in his back garden, which doesn't exactly please his neighbours. Which I'm not surprised. If my neighbour had 2 lions in their back garden, I'd be on the phone to the local authority every single day, and 2 of those lions had been rescued and were put back to where they needed to be. So this guy lives in Nottinghamshire. Yeah. Especially after one of the big cats attacked a stable hand working there in August of last year. I think that was 2019. I'm not quite sure. The cats are named Rocky and Rora, and the African and they were African lion cubs when he rescued them from a Czech Republic circus, and because he claims he rescued them in February of 19, and they joined the Puma and Tumu monkeys, right? And this guy also has a family of his own. Nobody should have 2 monkeys, a puma, and 2 lions, okay, as pets. these animals belong in the wild. And just because you rescued, like, these were cubs, right? Just because you rescued them for the circus doesn't mean you did a good thing, right? What should have happened was, because that they were cubs, they should have been given and taught all the things that they needed to go back out into the wild. Because they were still young enough to do so. They were still young enough to be trained and to know that they're scared of humans and how to learn how to hunt and be able to be reconnected to the wild. So Andrew and Tracy, you've no idea how to pronounce their surname. I think it's Riddle. In Lincolnshire, have a collection of 200 wild animals. No. Are you insane? Yes, by the sounds of it, and you're also utter prats as well. And that includes monkeys, lions, emus, wild cats, and even bears. The couple began their collection back in 2013 after Andrew gave Tracy a female zebra named Marty after the character in the animated movie Madagascar. Yeah, you heard me. She got a female zebra and she named it after a cartoon male zebra. And not even that. Who the hell thinks, you know what, it really pleased my wife for her birthday? Oh, I'll just get her a zebra. No, just get her a necklace. Or something, or flowers, or something like that. Don't go be ridiculous and go and buy her a zebra. You want to buy her an animal, you should have got her a goddamn puppy. Jesus. Right, so they have renamed their home to the World's Wildlife Park, and they do have a website, and it just drives me insane, make my blood boil. And their creatures, you can go and visit them in the public. As the public, you can go and visit their 200 odd animals. Which is insane. Don't do it, because you're just putting money in their pockets for them to buy even more stunning animals that belong in the wild. They don't need as a pet. This has got to stop. They claimed that their pets and their enclosures are not suitable for any visitors, that they don't have double barriers. Right. If anybody knows about having zoos or any wildlife collection, you have to have double barriers, okay? And that barriers can be inside the enclosure, so like e.g. like moats if the animals can't swim, or high walls if they can't climb. But then you have like a fence, and then you'll have like a little, like a big massive fence, and then you have like a little mini fence, okay? And that's to stop the public from getting in there. Look at that gorilla that lost his life because of one arrogant mother who took her eyes off of her child, and her child got into the enclosure with the gorillas, so they shot the gorilla even though the gorilla didn't harm the child. And then also look at that poor giraffe that they killed and then dissected in public because they had no room for him in any zoo. Don't be bringing animals if you've got no room for them. You know, like I said, if you're going to be, you own a zoo, or you're in charge of a zoo, you should be bringing animals and putting them back into the wild. You shouldn't be bringing them and passing them around zoos and keeping them in captivity for their whole entire life. If you are not doing that, then you shouldn't have that animal, that zoo in the first place. Right, so let's have a look at Jim Cobb. He's the former circus trainer, right? And he trains animals for film and TV. And he keeps things like zebras, wolves, hyenas, and various different big cats, including Royal Bengal tigers. And wolves and hyenas and zebras are not pets, and they should not be trained for films and for television because we have CGI. A CGI animal is that there's nothing there that's going to harm that animal or anybody around in production. So his tags have appeared in movies such as Prince of Persia and The Clash of Titans, but has much conveniently begun sending recently surrounding how Jim's company, Amazing Animals, treats the animals in their care, because apparently they're very poorly treated, right? Just CGI them. Don't have these real life tigers. And if you're an actor or you're a director or you're a movie producer, don't be looking for animal trainers like that, or don't even work in a movie that's going to hire actual animals that are wild and dangerous. If it's a dog, or a domesticated cat, then that's fair enough. But nothing like a wolf or a tiger or anything, just CGI those animals in there, okay? Can't stress that enough. Technology's moved on that much, so use it. So Martin Lacey, okay? So this is another English circus trainer who's the largest collection of big cats in the continent. And he's the son of an animal trainer, and he grew up in a circus before he was made to go to boarding school. Boo-hoo, my heart bleeds. He then returned to the family business at his A-levels, and he trained to work with the big cats, winning various awards as a lion trainer. Those things should not exist. And his collection of animals at the circus, grown in Munch, includes 4 lions, a white lion, which is really rare, and a rhinoceros and a rhino. Nobody should be owning these animals. They should be in the wild. They shouldn't have to keep saying this. And then one guy, an absolute nut job and another prat, had snakes under his stairs in his guest bedroom. He literally had walls like this one behind me, and it was covered in containers from top to bottom, and each container had at least a snake in it. Okay, I think he had like over... Yeah, it says that they're kept in enclosures that are far too small for them. He doesn't have a license for any of those snakes, even though some were actually venomous, and he had over 40 snakes. He also had a Komodo dragon, I believe, that he used to just walk in the park. And he buried it in his back garden. And people complained that he had this dragon in his garden. It is ridiculous. By the way, there is an act about performing animals, which we're going to cover in the next video. So that's all I have for this video today. I can't stress enough that we should just leave animals in the wild. Things have got to change. We're destroying this planet, okay? And I'm one person who's trying to stand up against this. You know, I'm trying to fight against it, but I can't do all this on my own. I need help, okay? Because we can ignore the voice of one, but we can't ignore the voice of many. Remember that, you know, if we all stand together, we're all going to be heard. We're all going to raise our voices, and that doesn't matter if it's just about animal rights, if it's about racism, gender equality, homophobia, whatever it is. We all have to stand up. We all have to make this change, and we all have to do it together. Okay, we've got to start taking these tiny steps one at a time. As a species, we can't just do it all on our own. I know. So that's all for me today. So if you enjoyed this video, you enjoyed all the other videos that I've done, here's my face. Click on it and you'll be subscribed. Please don't forget to click on notifications, and you'll be notified every time I upload a video. Okay? Playlist for the laws. Be down here. Click on it, you can watch all the other videos that I've done on laws previously, and up here will be another video. Okay, that's all for me now. I'll see you next time. Bye.